Hello, everyone. Guess what's next week?
E3.
Guess what?
My
Now,
first
moving on.
payday in like forever. That's this week.
I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
All
But
2 days of it.
considering there's nothing better to do while we wait for something, let's predict on what we're going to see or want.
Well, you want to know what better be at E3? Pikmin 3.
A whole
Well,
lot.
That's a
thought,
damn given.
Interested in things that you shouldn't care about anyway, and won't
Well,
care about when they're done.
Well, here's
Oh
the
wait,
here's,
no, that was last year. Sorry.
no. Here's the thing, Johnny. They said that they'd have Pikmin info for since what was it, E3 2009, and there hasn't been any yet.
I think it'd be safe to assume they'll have something to show us this year, along with other Wii U titles,
there better
which
be.
will
You-
be the
you-
main focus
you
of
mean-
this E3. I
you
know
mean-
for a fucking
You
fact
mean-
it'll be
wait,
the
you mean
Wii U.
Wii U software tells you mean Mario, and more Mario, because that's apparently all Nintendo cares about.
No,
Well, I didn't say it had to be diverse. I just, there's going to be Wii U titles.
I just want my Pikmin 3.
Smash 4.
Well, that too, yes. But
I'm not expecting anything Smash Brothers related.
Me neither, unfortunately.
I expect at least a trailer, because Sakurai, well, they had to have stopped development of Kid Icarus in February-ish.
Before that, maybe, but
So they have to have at least they've had enough time to at least get a trailer or a teaser of some sort. So I expect them to bring up Smash Brothers in some way, but I don't expect any gameplay footage or a demo. I just expect
I'm not even expecting a trailer.
me neither.
But
Well, I think that a trailer is possible.
Maybe a slight teaser to show the main four.
Everything
they'll,
is possible.
they'll show off the title screen maybe, but
Everything is possible.
So, how about that Star Fox Metroid crossover?
where the fuck did this come from?
They both take place in space.
Well, I mean, because that is definitely, if it's true, obviously, if it's true, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on that because I definitely play that game.
Well, I'd play any game that combines Nintendo franchises
Mario's
outside.
not
Of,
even.
well, they
Makes
could.
more
There's
sense.
Galaxy.
Makes more sense than Mickey Mouse and Cloud Strife in the same game. So what can I say?
I'd prefer to see a Star Fox F-Zero crossover, considering they've kind of already joked about that, but...
Well, theoretically, all of the Nintendo universes could be in the same universe, despite this universe and that universe having nothing to do with each other, because every major Nintendo franchise has had a space component. Like, even Zelda, with its random-ass UFOs and Majora's Mask, has had a space element.
It's just one pocket of space has these really weird random laws of physics that make levels let me think. You know what? I'm trying to name a random Super Mario Galaxy level and it's not coming to me. I must be having an off day.
Well, I mean, Mario's been in space, Kirby's been in space, Metroid and Metroid F-Zero and Star Fox take place in space. Zelda has had space-esque stuff. Pikmin takes place in space.
It's just that space works differently in every franchise.
Well, that doesn't mean that they couldn't all take place in the same universe. I'm just saying that I'm surprised.
It's a video game. For the sake of crossovers, I don't think that'd be an issue.
Yeah, it's like it could have been possible for this entire.
You're going to be on fist-sized planets, and you're going to travel from one to the other on a ship made of gummy blocks. There you go. There's your crossover.
Yes.
Well, actually, if you're thinking about it, how would a Metroid Star Fox crossover work? They have very different gameplay styles.
Well,
as long as Fox stays stapled to his freaking cockpit.
What I've read from the rumor is that they're pretty much combining two genres. You got the, I hear the Metroid part is going to be Prime styled, which I'm okay with.
Yay!
Because the rumored developers for this game is Retro Studios, and if Retro Studios is handling the Prime sections of this game, then I have nothing to worry about.
What's that? You have to collect 12 keys to open the lock.
What's that? You have to travel between light and dark world.
Been hunting, yes, but if I'm very curious to see how Retro Studios would handle Star Fox.
Well, it can't be any worse than what Nintendo themselves have done with it a few times.
Well, I mean, Retro Studios are batting 1,000 when it comes to handling other franchises.
Sure.
I mean, Donkey Country Returns is pretty good. You know, the Metroid Prime speaks for itself.
Well, how much? Well, they also. I know they had some involvement with Mario Kart 7, but how much involvement did they actually
I
have?
think it was more on the networking side of things.
Okay,
I'm not
because
entirely sure.
if they handled all of Mario Kart 7, then I can
They
say.
didn't do all of it, no. They just
Okay,
helped.
well, then never mind then.
Yeah, so what do you think is going to happen with the 3DS aside from, hey look, same games we showed last year are back?
Well, I hope.
I'm expecting more in-depth footage with a few of the like you mentioned, like a few of
Luigi's
the
Mansion and Paper
Luigi's
Mario.
Mansion 2, New Super Mario Brothers 2, obviously.
Oh, who cares about that game? Really?
Okay, I'm probably the only one that really likes New Super Mario Brothers.
Well, no, I like
I
New
don't
Super Mario Brothers. It's just that New Super Mario Brothers Wii was almost exactly the same as New Super Mario Brothers DS. And the thing about New Super Mario Brothers 2 that pisses me off so much is that they're pulling the exact same nostalgia grab that they did for Mario 3D Land. In this case, it's just the raccoon suit instead of the Tanuki suit. Mario has never really evolved, but it's never been this blatant about the nostalgia pandering.
Admittedly, you are right about that. I've noticed
I don't
that.
care. It's like I've played the game millions of times at this point. Just by slapping new on the title does not make it new. So I don't care. I'm more interested in Fire Emblem, Luigi's Mansion, or Paper Mario.
Well, Paper Mario 3DS actually really interests me because this is the first sequel to Thousand Year Door we've had.
That's not the point of the new title, so I'm not really going to. I don't really see why people keep going on about that particular quibble.
Well, no, I understand that the new title.
The new made sense because
they messed up the numbering with World.
I just like to think of it as a new series.
The new was fine the first time just because we hadn't had a new 2D platformer since the Super Nintendo. But now that you have an entire franchise titled New, it's not really new.
I think it's just a title. I think it's just a title name at this point.
I guess, but still.
I wish that there was more to differentiate themselves within the games, because like Mario 1, Mario 3, except for Lost Levels, Mario 1, Mario 3, and Mario World are all very different games. No matter what anybody says, they've all got slightly different play styles, different graphical styles. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. 2, and New Super Mario Bros. 1. Aside from some graphical, better graphics, depending on what system you are, they're all pretty much the same.
I'm going to give the game a benefit of a doubt because it could be a really, really decent 2D platformer.
I don't care at this point.
It needs to do something. No, here's the thing: it needs to do something more than what it's doing if it wants to be great as opposed to decent.
But the only thing we really know about it at this point is that it has the raccoon. It has the power, the leaf.
All of the footage and screenshots I've seen seems to point to the level design being very similar to Wii and DS.
We want to make more money.
I find it more interesting that they're going to be releasing the entire game on the eShop than the actual game itself.
What's that you thought when we mentioned the Nintendo Network? You thought we would actually consider online play? No, we just made the digital distribution service better so we could take your money.
Well, wait, this thing is entirely online.
Well, no,
you can buy a physical copy, but it's also the full game is you can download.
Ah, okay.
When you come to the online thing, the online in Uprising is pretty good. It's not like you could do a lot with an online service in the 2D Mario game anyway.
I'm more making fun of the fact that Nintendo doesn't give a shit about online play.
Well,
their big announcement about online play for anything Mario related is, oh look, you can buy it easier.
Well, how would you do online play for a Mario game? You really can't do a competitive.
How about online co-op?
Well, they haven't Well, I don't think they're doing co-op at all for New Super Mario Bros. 2. So
Rayman Origins could do it.
There is New Super Mario Bros. Me.
Don't care. How about something besides?
Well,
Mario?
I'm just saying, for co-op, that's their option.
I guess.
But
if they don't do co-op for New Super Mario, I'm actually hoping that New Super Mario Bros. Me is just a tech demo they did. But if they are making a New Super Mario Bros. Me, and if it has co-op and it's not online, then I'm just going to be. Well, I wouldn't say disappointed because I didn't expect a lot to begin with, but I'm going to be annoyed.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were talking about Rayman Origins. Rayman Legends looks pretty cool. I want to play that game.
Me too. Looks way better than anything Mario's going to be offering.
I still haven't played Origins yet.
Origins is awesome.
Origins is awesome.
No, seriously, Origins is the best 2D platformer made in like the past 10 years that I've played.
Of all the new Super Mario knockoffs or retro revivals, it's easily the best.
It's probably the best retro revival that's come out of all. It's one of the only 2D platformers I've played where I've actually gotten legitimately attached to what's going on. It's great. Like, the music is great. I love the visual style.
Origins and Mega Man 9 are probably my two favorites out of this whole thing.
So I'm really looking forward to Legends, because it seems to be doing a few interesting things with the visual style and the whatever.
They'll come up with some interesting new power-ups and stuff.
Yeah, so I think that'll probably end up being the 2D platformer I care about most from E3.
Also, Back to the Future references.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to do something with time travel or whatever. Not sure. We really only got one trailer, which is debatably canon, because they didn't want to show that to people.
Also, Ezio Auditore.
Ezio.
And Ezio now.
The Wii U has this thing on it, kind of like the Spyro Skylanders games, where you can put like little action figures on the controller, and then stuff will happen in the game.
One is hard, so it would rain health down. Another was the rabbits.
And there was a rabbit. There was a rabbit toy which brought Rayman to a rabbit level where he could beat the shit out of rabbits, which would be incredibly satisfying, I must admit.
And then they hinted at an Ezio Auditore one.
Well, no, the guy looked at an Ezio figure, grabbed the Ezio figure, was about to put it on the Wii U controller, and then the Back to the Future music played as they faded to the title screen.
Okay, that's random.
That's very random. I don't get the relevance.
It's Ezio.
Ezio Auditore.
Yeah, I'm
still looking forward to the game.
I'm looking forward to quite a number of games actually this E3. Well, just to see more game footage, obviously. I want to see more of Resident Evil.
Smash Brothers.
Well, the PlayStation All Stars Battle. I hate that.
I'm just calling it Sony. I'm just calling it Sony Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to call it Sony Smash Brothers as well. PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale is a fucking mouthful.
Sony Smash Brothers.
Well, here's the thing. Well, it's all. I like how some. Here's the thing. I've been. I like reading the comments on IGN because it's funny laughing at all the stupid stuff that people say, and it's just like if anybody even brings up Smash Brothers in discussion with that game, people are like, "Oh my god, how come you're comparing it to Smash Brothers? Other series can do something like Smash Brothers," and I'm like, dudes, it's the first comparison anybody's going to make. So shut up.
Power Stone.
Who cares about Power Stone?
Nobody remembers Power Stone.
I do.
It's just the fact that it's a
because you're a nerd.
The fact that it's a crossover is immediately going to bring people more to Smash Brothers to begin with, despite not even including the fact that Smash Brothers is by far the more popular series.
I am looking forward to the game though, because
at least tide me over until Smash Brothers 4.
Well, it's not only that though. I mean, I'm totally down with the idea of Microsoft or Sony getting their hands in with the kind of crossover mascot fighter genre.
Well,
obviously, I think Nintendo has it in their favor because they have more recognizable mascots, but I think in like Sony's case,
they have enough to get by.
Yeah, and I think Sony is definitely more third-party friendly than Nintendo.
Yeah.
Over the course of the last 5 years, so we could start seeing other characters from other franchises that we wouldn't be able to see on Nintendo, duke it out with each other, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I guess but I'm wondering if.
I cannot wait to beat up Nathan Drake with Jack.
Well, I'm just wondering if Microsoft were going to do this. What would they have? Master Chief versus
Marcus Phoenix. That's the that is his name, right?
Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Yeah. Poor bastard.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can think of.
I'm pretty sure Microsoft has in terms of console exclusives, I don't think Microsoft has much going for it.
No, so they're probably not going to do anything.
Batman.
Well, Batman wouldn't be able. Batman's not a video game character.
I know, but still.
It's selling a lot of copies.
Neither
well,
is
that-
Darth Vader or Yoda, but they're still in Soul Calibur 4 anyway.
Well, Soul Calibur 4's.
At least that's what makes a Monica most sense.
Soul Calibur 4 is unremarkable.
So, John, before
Not
we got
the point.
before we got sidetracked onto Sony Smash Brothers, you were talking about Resident Evil 6.
I wanted to, yeah. Well, I was only going to say that I wanted to see more.
Wesker's son.
Yeah, I just want to see more of it because Resident Evil 6 is definitely looking a lot more interesting to me than Resident Evil 5.
I just can't support.
Even
Capcom
I don't
right
think
now.
I don't think
The
5
only
was. I
thing-
don't think 5 was a. I still think 5 was a pretty good game. It's just I still think 4 is much better.
Resident Evil 6 is in general looking a whole lot better than Resident Evil 5, but I have two problems with what we know about it. First is that the Wesker's son subplot sounds like the start of like every other fan fiction in the Resident Evil section, and also C-Virus. Okay, doesn't sound nearly as threatening or badass as T-Virus or G-Virus. Also,
Why?
they may be zombies, but they really look like they act exactly the same as Ganados, and I'm hoping that there's at least some differences in the way they behave.
I don't care. It
because-
looks like the one's actually playing Resident Evil 2,
Well,
but with good crap.
Let me
think-
put it this way. If the zombies ride motorcycles at me, I'm going to stab someone. And it's not going to be one of the zombies.
Well, I think for the whole zombie thing, I think the gimmick with that is they're gonna attack you en masse.
Yeah, there's just going to be a massive horde of them.
Yeah,
So Left 4 Dead.
yeah. I think they're gonna be pulling a Left 4 Dead with that.
Am I
I
going to-
wouldn't mind.
Am I going to get to like pick up random mascot masks and bash zombies on the head with them and shit?
Real Mega Buster.
Yeah, they are both Capcom. It's a possibility.
Now
Yeah.
play as Bad Boxer Mega Man for Resident Evil 6.
But yeah, in terms of like the whole Wesker Jr. thing, it's like
Mueller.
what you know. It's the
At this
equivalent
point,
of
the
Resident
story
Evil.
is-
It's equivalent of a Resident Evil game ending with Chris, I'm pregnant. Just
At this point, I think the story just needs to end and bring the gameplay style into something different.
Well, hold on. How was Revelations? Because I played the demo.
Revelations.
I don't see Albert Wesker having a kid and then abandoning him. I see Albert Wesker having a kid, kidnapping the kid, sticking him in a test tube somewhere, and turning him into a super soldier. I do not see Wesker having a kid and abandoning him. In fact, the entire scenario feels like something Capcom pulled out of its ass just to keep Wesker significant to the story in some way, shape, or form without actually bringing him back to life.
Well, they brought him back to life ridiculously for Resident Evil 4. Why can't they bring him back now? I mean, Resident Evil, whatever. They brought him back ridiculously.
Code Veronica.
So that was actually a pretty passable plot twist. But,
Well, I mean, it's not like anybody can take the Resident Evil plot seriously anymore. I
They
mean,
didn't
after,
take it seriously in the first place.
well, it's just
Don't
like,
open that door.
well, it's just like after you have boulder punching and Napoleon statues, you can't take the story seriously anymore. So don't
I don't
try.
think- I don't think Resident Evil was ever meant to be taken. I mean, God, have you seen the fucking voice acting of the first game?
I thought
Is
that was
that-
just a.
Is that Enrico? Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? See, that's how bad the voice acting is. You can see it, not hear it. But,
Well, I mean, I thought that the first game was just an instance of dub failure because the remake has decent voice acting.
Resident Evil has been trying to be taken seriously for a very long time. In fact, the only recent Resident Evil game that doesn't want to be taken seriously is Resident Evil 4. And that was trying to be a very cheesy action movie. But
And it worked.
all of the
I think
with exception to the original version of the first game, all of the, relevant Resident Evil stories have been trying to be taken seriously.
I actually don't think RE2's story was that bad, all things considered.
I was like, oh, I think they're doing a pretty shitty job at that because I never really got a whole lot of seriousness out of the Resident Evil. Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible epidemic, obviously, but in terms of story direction and writing, it's
How can you take 3 seriously with Zombie
It's Capcom.
Kool-Aid Man?
yeah.
Dude, it's Capcom. That's why. It's not because you're not supposed to take it seriously. It's because it's Capcom.
Well, Capcom
Story
can
is
do.
not what they do.
Oh well, Capcom
Sometimes
can do
they
good
do it reasonably well, but it's not what they do.
Well, I'd point to the Phoenix Wright games, which are have great stories and are done by
The
Capcom.
entire game is the story.
Well,
There's
it's a
no
good thing that they did it right then,
there's
isn't
no-
it?
That's the
Games
point
that-
he was making. It's a good story. So.
So if Capcom ever wants to write a good story, they just have to screw the gameplay altogether and just make a story.
When the best Capcom game story that I can think of is Devil May Cry 3, that says something about, Capcom's general track record when it comes to storytelling. So I'm not really surprised that Resident Evil 6 is pulling some questionable story elements out of its ass.
Well, they've never hired fan fiction writers before.
No, that's what the Archie comics do. Okay. Now let's see.
Other games, Halo 4, if anybody
You mean
cares.
the entirety of Microsoft's conference?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was-
I'm actually looking at a Wikipedia list of this year's E3, and the list of notable games that may be exhibited, and Microsoft only has Halo 4 listed.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
The only thing about Halo 4 I give a shit about is that we're going to be seeing Cortana again. Cortana is a fun character. That's about it. I don't give a shit about Master Chief. He's just a guy in a metal suit.
Because we don't have four of those
Oh
already.
God, the fan base is going to jump down my throat now, isn't it?
Connect.
You know what though? Just call it a hunch. I don't think we're going to be seeing nearly as many Connect titles as we did last year.
Well, don't you want to see the
that
see the
would be
sequel to
embarrassing.
Sesame Street for Connect?
I
How about
don't
Star Wars Connect 2?
It's like the first time they did it, you can sort of forgive them because they haven't made that mistake and therefore haven't learned from it yet. If they do it the second time, that's just embarrassing because it shows that, they have no capacity for learning at all.
And here's what's going to be half of Sony's conference. Why aren't you buying a Vita? Someone please buy a Vita.
The Vita is actually pretty cool. I suggest
Yeah,
people-
but there's nothing to play on it, and when I've got a 3DS, that's saying something.
There was nothing to play on the 3DS when that came out either.
Yeah,
Very
but they're
But
Yeah.
the Vita is a better console
But
thing.
the
No,
Vita.
it's not.
No, hold on. Technically, yes, the Vita is a better console, but I think the Vita's going to have a harder time getting some good games for it, like the PSP did during its run. I mean, Jesus Christ, how long did it for the PSP to get
Oh,
good
The
games?
only Vita game that I'm interested in playing at all is like that Gravity Rush or whatever it is platformer.
The only reason I would potentially get a Vita is to play the Persona games, which I've been interested in for a while, but really, that's about it.
I'm hesitant myself because I've been through 3 PSPs in the last 4 years. One was because, I was curious at first. I always wanted to have a PSP at one point because there were a lot of Japanese RPGs that I wanted to get for it. And, Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get it in the first place. Then I ended up trading it in with all the games because there were other games for the other consoles that I wanted at the time. So I ended up getting the Silver Slim model later on. Traded that in as well. Do you think I learned my lesson at this point? And then I got it a third time because there were other games that I wanted to get for it, namely Dissidia and the Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection. And I ended up trading it in again.
So
Well,
is
here's
the
the thing-
lesson don't buy it the first time or don't trade it in so many goddamn times so you have to buy it again.
Well, here's the thing with the original PSP is that the DS just steamrolled it the entire time because the DS has got one of the best library of games I think in recent
I
years.
mean, overall, the PSP doesn't have a bad library.
Here's my analysis of the PSP versus DS thing, alright? Alright, the longer the PSP went on, okay, the slower its library seemed to move because the DS was carrying more and more of the handheld market the more time passed. But the stronger the Vita starts out, the less of a problem that's going to be this time around. So it really
Except it
depends on
didn't
how
start
many
out
people
well at all.
don't buy a Vita now. So go out and fucking buy them already.
Well, what would you play on it? Uncharted?
Well,
Boo.
it's- what? No,
The
that's
Vita
pretty-
doesn't have much going for it right now, so you wouldn't have enough reason to buy it.
At least it's just like, at least with the 3DS, there's at least if you wanted to buy a 3DS now, you'd have Mario 3D Land, which is at least okay. There's Mario
God.
Kart.
Okay, that clinches it.
Boo.
Well, it does for a lot of people, I should at least say.
Yawn.
Well, it's boring, but it's a Mario game, so at least it's something that would entertain a normal person.
Yawn.
And then there's Mario Kart, and then there's also Kid Icarus Uprising right now, which is the first real
Reach
super.
to get the thing.
Recognizable face on the cover.
I mean, there's also a few other good games for the 3DS. Like, hold on, I'm looking at my library right now.
Ocarina of Time.
Well, that's just a remake, so I don't technically count that.
Ocarina of Time.
Look, from our perspective, yes, it's a bit boring, but Mario is the most recognizable video game character of all time. The general audience could relate to that, and that's really all Nintendo cares about at this point.
Yeah.
Let's.
So how about that EA conference? More Madden.
I'm looking at Electronic. I'm looking at EA's. I'm looking at EA's list of games they expect people expect them to have, and I do not give a fuck about every single one of these games, with the exception of maybe Dead Space 3, or no, that's it, because everything else is a fucking sports title, and
No, not even a Sims thing.
there's SimCity and there's Crisis 3.
Well, I'm sure Peter Molyneux will come out somewhere and complain, but
Well, Peter Molyneux. People don't take Peter Molyneux seriously anymore.
he still shows up.
Did they ever?
I think
don't
at
think-
one point, maybe.
Yeah, before the release of Fable 1, they might have, because they didn't know who the fuck he was.
Moving on to Ubisoft. Who wants to return of Mr. Caffeine?
Again, the only thing I'm really looking forward to from
who
Ubisoft,
wants
is
Ubisoft
Rayman.
to actually make a sequel to that goddamn Prince of Persia 08 game, so we can find out what the fuck happened with Ahriman already? I mean, as much as I disliked Prince of Persia 08, alright, the game basically ended with you releasing the bad guy you just sealed up 5 minutes ago, alright? I want to see where that cliffhanger goes already. But instead, the only Prince of Persia game we've got since then is the goddamn Sands of Time Redux thingamafucker with its Wii game brethren that wasn't the same game but totally was. So when are we going to get, a sequel to our weird multicolored Prince of Not the Sands of Time thing?
What?
I don't know.
You kind of lost me there.
Again, the only thing I care about from Ubisoft is Rayman. That's really about it. That's the only
What?
property of theirs I've ever
Not
really
even
cared
Assassin's Creed 3?
about. I've never
Oh,
played
Assassin's
Assassin's
Creed
Creed
3
In
1 or 2.
America this time.
America. Fuck you.
We get to assassinate things with tomahawks now.
Well, okay, I'm
the
going
games
to...
have been solid. They just
We
come out too
get
frequently.
to assassinate people for George Washington and shit.
So
George motherfucking Washington.
Well, I'm sorry, when I think
George
of America...
Washington, damn you.
When I think of America and Assassins, I immediately... nothing interesting happens until John Wilkes Booth shows up, so...
Okay, yeah, well, that was until Assassin's Creed 3 came along and changed history.
What
I'm
about
sorry,
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer?
I'm sorry, but I know I'm going to sound incredibly unpatriotic and shit, but just being in America doesn't automatically make something
We
interesting.
do stuff.
It's
where
like
George
Ezio
Washington-
Auditore with his Italian accent replaced by tomahawks and guns and stuff.
and George
stuff.
Washington.
Yeah, and George Washington.
I demand a Dirty Harry DLC.
Oh. Yeah, make it happen, Ubisoft. I'm just glad to be moving on from Ezio at last.
Ezio.
yeah, and to spend a bit too long with him.
What about the other
So
guy? The guy from the first
Go
game.
Totally correct.
Altair, he only appeared in one game and that was it.
Does he do anything important? Or is
No.
it just Ezio?
Well, no, they realized they were sitting on a gold mine, so they cashed out 2 sequels pretty quickly.
I still haven't played an Assassin's Creed game at this point.
Me neither. I might get
Do
3
yourself a
because
favor, skip 1, start with 2.
Yeah.
I might get 3 just because it'll be a Wii U title maybe at launch, and I might want something to play, but I'm not incredibly interested in it.
In other news,
In other news,
I want to see more Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Revengeance.
you
Not
mean
revenge. Revengeance.
You mean though? You mean that this totally should have been No More Heroes 3?
What is Revengeance anyway? Is that like some new rip-off Evanescence band or something?
I don't care. I don't care. It's being made by Platinum Games, so it's going to be good.
It was supposed to be a prequel. Now it's a sequel. Like, why? Just why?
They wanted more cutscenes. That's why.
Metal Gear Solid 4 was supposed to be the end of it. It was supposed to be the ending.
It was supposed to be the end of Snake.
It was supposed to be the ending of everything. It ended the Patriots, which were the things behind the things that happened in all the other fucking games.
I demand more
It
Big
ended
Boss
Big
games.
Boss, which was the thing that we were. But
What about more Big Boss games?
yeah, but that's all
That's-
prequel stuff.
Which I really fucking hate.
What, prequels?
No, it's just that when you have a game in the main series that has a solid conclusion, or you leave it so ambiguous that, and you don't want to make a sequel to it, you instead rely on prequels to further flesh out a story that we already know about. It gets pretty damn annoying. I think one of the
I do think the Big Boss story has been done well enough already, and we don't need any more.
Speaking of, this is a little bit off topic, but how good is the Snake Eater port for 3DS?
oh, it's fantastic, but you
Okay.
need the damn Circle Pad Pro.
Okay.
Because without that, you have to rely on the face buttons to control the camera, which
Yeah.
is incredibly awkward.
Yep.
Are we talking Mario 64 awkward, or any given PSP game awkward?
All right.
Yes.
So, is there anything left?
Not that I can think of.
Do you think there'll be any Sonic? Because I know we're supposed to talk about that.
Oh,
We're
you
obviously-
You got your Diddy Kong Racing and my Sonic. You
Just
got your
Sonic
Sonic and
Racing
my
Crash.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Just Sonic and All Stars Racing.
It's
Crash.
another racing game that happens to have Sonic in it, so it's going to have Sonic in the title. I don't think of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing as a Sonic racing game. I think of it as a Sega racing game that happens to have Sonic in it.
You got
Well,
your
it's just
Sonic
like,
and my Diddy Kong Racing.
well, I think they're having Rystar as a driver now, at least.
And the rumor
They
is
better
that
have
Vector Man's gonna-
Rystar and Knights as playable characters,
And the
because,
rumor
there
is
was
that-
such a shitstorm about them not being playable in the last game.
and the
I
rumor
think
is
Knights
that-
is still going to be the Lakitu.
And the rumor is that Vector Man's going to be the super secret unlockable.
Well, then they're not doing a pretty good job at keeping it super secret now, are they?
That's about all I can think of as saying.
I'm looking forward to it because I did have some fun with Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing. And I do like the whole. Now it's a boat. And now it's a plane. And
You
now it's a
got-
car again.
you-
It's schizophrenic cart.
You got your Sonic and my Diddy Kong Racing.
You got your Diddy Kong Racing and my Sonic.
Nope, needs more flying genie elephants.
I never played Diddy Kong Racing.
It's okay.
More people need to rip off Diddy Kong Racing rather than Mario Kart. There'd be a little less monotony in the world if they did.
Mario Kart already ripped off Diddy Kong Racing, though.
In a way.
Point.
Damn you!
Well,
My
E3
point
comes.
is, less go-kart, more motorboat.
Well, E3 is next week, so we shall
Pikmin
see.
I'm pretty sure
Pikmin 3!
we'll have a lot more to talk about when we actually watch the damn conferences.
Yep,
Predictions, though. What do you guys think will have the best conference?
I
Nintendo.
predict that
Nintendo just has the
Outcome.
most to
Just a
do.
show. Yeah.
I predict that within half an hour, I'll forget about E3 entirely and therefore not watch it at all. So you guys have fun with that. I'm just going to keep playing video games rather than watching news reports about them.
Dude, it's been
You
7
are boring.
It's been 8 years since Pikmin 2. I want my sequel.
Well, it's been 10 years since Fusion. Where's my Metroid sequel?
You've had at least Metroid games. I haven't had anything.
Yeah, but not the Metroid game I want.
Supposed to be a sequel, but no. Oh wait, you mean like a post-fusion sequel? Never mind.